Hey guys, hope you found that enjoyable. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see anything more like this. There's a bee in Andrew's face. We planned that. That's part of the video. It's actually a drone.
Special effects.
Yeah.
Big budget. Someone had lunch on here, apparently.
All right, welcome to another episode of Between Two Bikes. We got the GS400 over here, and we've got the Maxim 400 over there, Glancy's bike. So in this video today, we're going to go over the build of Glancy's bike, the Maxim, and we're going to go over a crash that he had and what we had to do to rebuild the bike. So Glancy, quick snapshot of what it is.
Sure. The core of it is, as you said, an 82 Maxim XS400. So the frame and the motor. The tank is an Indian replica tank from Rare to Moto. So it's made to look like an old school Indian tank, but it's actually new. The whole front clip is from a 2011 R6 with a Cognito Moto triple tree for the conversion. It's got a Harley bobber seat on it, and then it's got a monoshock from a Ducati Sport Classic. So it's kind of a Frankenstein of, 5 bikes into one.
And so you just missed the brakes on the front there. That's also from the R6.
That's right. Yeah, so the front shocks, the front brakes, all the controls are all from the R6.
So all updated everything on that front, which is nice.
It's got way more braking than power, so.
Well, I mean, it's probably, do you think it's heavier than an R6?
No, it's a really light bike. The center of gravity is really low. Again, with the tail chop, you lose a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
She's super light and reasonably low in comparison to a bike like that. So, I'm a tall guy, so I can throw the weight around low on the bike. So yeah, handles really well.
Comfort?
It is incredibly uncomfortable. The bike is built for aesthetics, so she looks good sitting. But the seating position's too high, too far forward. Your weight's over your shoulders and over your wrists. So, it's not comfortable on the wrist. It's not comfortable on the back. It's a coffee shop bike. It's not a touring bike.
Sure. So let's move into the video now. Glancy was kind enough to shoot video on the day and photos of when he crashed. So
yeah.
It was called a Taco Tuesday ride with Lords of Gastown. I didn't join this one, but I did get a call halfway through what I was doing saying, "Hey bud, can you come and help me? I've crashed my bike into a ditch."
Yeah, you're the first person I thought to call when I climbed out of the ditch.
So we'll run through some of what the group ride looks like, because I had footage from the week before. We'll roll into the crash scene, and then we'll ride through what it is, and you'll see exactly what happened.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
We're in Fort Langley, beautiful British Columbia, on our Cafe Racer vehicles. At this point in time, we're going to go to the the crash site where Andrew went arse over tea kettle.
I most certainly did.
One of the most killer bails of his life. Actually, the only time you've really come off a bike, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, 8 years in. 8 years? 7 years? Something like that.
The last crash was due to some bamboo.
Oh, yeah, that I laid it down at a stoplight.
Yeah, we're going left here.
Completely stopped at a stoplight. I laid it down, the CBR, on a piece of discarded bamboo. but this was the first time I'd ever gone down in motion.
First one that hurt more than the ego.
Yeah. That's nice.
Oh yeah.
A little verbal. Yeah, that crash was definitely a bit of a check to the ego. But I quickly tore the bike down, fixed everything, rebuilt it, and got back on within a week because I wanted to get back on the bike fast and get riding again, just for the confidence.
Yeah, you got to get back on the horse.
Yeah, so it was like a mad dash. Like I literally, it was 7 days to tear it down, rebuild it, get the tank passed, and then put it all back together. And then I ripped over to your house just to ride. I didn't want to dwell on it.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I believe it's this one.
Whew, that was hard on the brakes.
Yeah, here's the corners, yeah.
Yeah. So this part was fine. And we were pretty far back in the pack, like we left late. So we were kind of the last 20 bikes. And I was riding around this bend, taking the right, and it was fine. And then as I came towards the apex of this left turn, the bikes started bunching up and braking right at the apex of this turn, and I went straight off there.
Right there, and boom, into that ravine, right there.
Yeah, so the bikes, like the pack was going up this right-hander, like dead ahead.
Yeah.
And so someone had slowed down for the right-hander, so it bunched all the bikes up down this straight. And then that caused a kind of a blockage right after that left-hander back there. So I came around the left-hander and then just brake lights all the way ahead. Hundreds of brake lights. So I had no choice but to brake mid-turn, and then that put me straight through the apex of the corner and over the ditch, and I crashed into the far bank, and then was jettisoned off the bike and hit my head on the far bank of the bike, or the far bank of the ditch, and bike went flying, I went flying. It was shitty. So there's the turn that I crashed on. Here's where I went off the road. Here's where the bike landed. Actually on its side, but I've stood it up since. And over there is where I landed. It was not pretty.
The worst part about the crash was the mosquitoes.
Holy shit. Yeah, so I didn't really get any real damage to me, but my forearms were destroyed by mosquitoes trying to get the bike out of that ditch after the fact.
Oh wait, Glenn, stop. Let's do a drag race here.
Oh, shit. All right.
This is a great place for a drag race. Hey, Brad, want a dice?
Huh?
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
3, 2, 1, go. All right, so now that we've shown you the sort of crash scene and what happened there, Glancy, take us through what you had to do to bring this thing back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Besides for getting the mosquitoes and grass off.
Yeah, that was the worst part. Yeah, I hosed it down, ripped it apart. There was a leak on the inside tab for the tank mount, so it was leaking gas, so we had a buddy weld that up. The front light had to be replaced. The mounting point for the ignition had to be replaced. The tab on the front of the frame to stop the front forks, to give them kind of outside limits. That tab had been twisted and bent and broken, so I had to fix that. A bunch of wiring had been mangled in the front forks.
So that's right, you had an electrical issue for that day.
Yeah, and that was partially due to the rebuild. One of the headers was pushed over, so had to fix that. Again, yeah, the wiring at the fuse box had to be redone. So it was a lot of little stuff, but the whole front end of the bike had to come apart in order to do all that little stuff. And then the headlight mounting brackets had to be rebuilt, the tank, and then of course the seat and all that material and stuff had to come off.
Talk to us a little bit about what it takes to get back on the bike. Like that's part of the reason why you had to go so fast.
Yes. Yeah. I rebuilt it in 7 days. 2 reasons. One, I was really sore. My neck, my back, my shoulders from the crash. So I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't go work out. I couldn't do anything really where I had to be mobile. So puttering around in the garage, tinkering with the bike was helpful. Kept my mind off the pain, kept me focused on the rebuild. And then getting it done fast and getting on allowed me not to dwell about the accident. So for me, it was all about turning it fast, like get back on it, get back at it, feel comfortable.
Totally. I found that once, like when I had my bad accidents, when I broke my leg, which is not bad by motorcycle standards at all. I found the only feeling I got when I got back on the bike was excitement again. I was just pumped. Like it didn't really throw me back into, like still when I ride around that corner, I get the heebie-jeebies, whether I'm in the car or whether I'm on the bike. I'm like, is the same thing going to happen again? Because your brain kind of jumps backwards and goes, well, if it happened that one time, it'll happen every time. And that's often why we have accidents, is because you think you can do this corner at 200 all the time.
Actually, funnily enough, the corner today, when we went around it and we were talking through the accident, was the first time I've gone through that corner and not been nervous.
Oh, you've done it again since?
Yeah, I've done it a few times since, and felt some nervousness going through that corner and been extra cautious. But we were talking about the accident, and I was explaining the accident as we rode through it today. And doing that, I didn't feel the nervousness and kind of trepidation about the corner that I would normally.
A little bit of therapy.
Yeah.
A little bit of throttle therapy there for you.
Maybe we should do that with your spot on Croydon.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that 100 times now. Jeez, that's like right outside my house for that accident, which is always happens, is right outside the house, eh? Glancy, any closing comments, any tips you'd have for group rides?
When it comes to group rides, I say don't. I'll ride with 4 or 5 guys now. I will never do like a 200 bike ride again. Again, the issue with that crash was the bunching up of bikes after a turn, and there was no way of foreseeing that was going to happen. I know partially my fault. I should have put some more lead distance between me and the bikes in front of me. But I like to ride with a smaller group now. I'll never do those 200 plus bike rides again.
That's the thing, you can't really judge. You have no idea what the skill level of the riders around you. Some guys are there to try and prove a point. It could be the guy's first time on a motorbike. You've no clue. And you're tight pack with these guys, and I don't know, anything's possible.
Yeah, I like to ride with guys that I know now, and like even our little group that rides, like it's 4 or 5 bikers that personally, and maturity level, skill level. There's much more comfort in riding in that environment than there was in those big group rides, and I paid the price for it. So.
False prophets got it counted, who gon' stop it? Ain't no true love around, but heaven got me till I hear the trumpet sound.